Now the business of President Trump. Today, day 5 of his administration, and I'm surprised there's any ink left in his pen. He's been very busy. We're keeping Jim Equals here because for all your business news and stock quotes and things that you need, timesonline.com. And speaking of stocks, Wall Street, we'll begin with this gentleman, Dave Pasquale. For many years in the steel industry, the man behind Colfin, now has since retired, but he loves talking business. Wall Street, first ever, closing Dow over 20,000. There's got to be something in the air, Mr. Pasquale.
Well, I think you're getting a rush from what Trump has done so far. He's done some of the things that he said he was going to do all during the campaign. It's a little bit surprising that he's got to it as quickly as he has. There's some really dynamic issues that he's tackled so far already, and apparently has done a pretty good job with it. And it seems like Wall Street's pretty impressed with it.
Now, when you talk to your father, an older gentleman, a minister who's been in Beaver County for decades, raised his children, your mother since passed away, he's remarried. He's seen it all, obviously congregations and families growing and how it has changed. Donald Trump, what he's done, your dad has to have an opinion about what he believes it'll take to get middle class jobs back and to bring families back in full force in Beaver County.
But yeah, I think he's definitely a supporter of the new president. I think he's very happy with what's going on. Definitely have to bring, especially in Beaver County, the job creation is just huge. And that's what schools, what churches, what communities need. So I think we're really seeing, we're going to see that over the next 4 years. Hopefully, as long as there's a lot of cooperation on both sides of the aisle. So.
Right? And by the way, their son Asa, his middle name is Reagan. So I think that has a little bit to do with what we're talking about tonight. Not Reaganomics, Trumponomics. Bottom line is it's all about let's negotiate, and that's what he's done his entire life. And one of the things that he is renegotiating basically is NAFTA. He said, let's get together and take a hard look at this. NAFTA has really been, I think, many people would agree, a death sentence for this country from the very beginning, and you saw it firsthand in your industry. So what about renegotiating NAFTA, Dave Pasquale?
Not only renegotiate it or repeal it. There are so many segments of the American Free Trade Agreement that just are against American manufacturing. We've lost so many jobs as a result of it. It was supposed to be a trade deal that was good for both Canada, for all three, Canada, Mexico, and the United States. It hasn't worked out that way. Unfortunately, we have lost approximately 700,000 jobs as a result, direct result of the implementation of NAFTA and the policies that particular agreement carries. That being the case, I don't know that it's capable of being renegotiated. I think probably the best thing you could do with it is repeal it.
Like basically with the Trans-Pacific Partnership, Obama wanted it, Congress never approved it. Donald Trump says it's over.
He withdrew it.
Even my son, a sophomore, senior in Quigley, we were talking coming home today, and he too was saying about how that will be a good thing for America. So when you see someone that age, 17 years of age, already plugged in as far as the economic impact in the future and what it means for jobs, I think that is showing a lot of people that there may be some hope coming back to this country.
Was he for it?
He was glad that it was gone.
Oh, absolutely. I think it was another deal that is somewhat equitable to the WTO, World Trade Organization. That's another agreement that we've established under previous administrations, and not a good deal for the United States. Everything that we do and the moves that we make in industry are reviewed by the other members of the World WTO, and if they don't like them, they can bring them to court, they can sue, and have some of the actions that we take as a nation repealed.
The reason I was talking about renegotiating NAFTA is he's also talking today, trending about building this wall, and Mexico and extra border taxes, and talking to people in the automobile industry. He's met with the 3 big automakers. We talked about that, GM, Ford, and Fiat Chrysler, about don't think about going down there. Ford's already said we're bringing jobs here, we're putting $1.8 billion into a plant in Michigan. But you start this give and take with Mexico, and they start fighting back. And obviously that NAFTA, a lot of that means south of the border, they may hold you to certain things that may be more difficult to break free from the chains that I believe NAFTA is all about. So you think he's looking at the big picture and how this could, if he doesn't negotiate it the right way, it could take a lot longer, and in some cases even make it worse for our country. Just your opinion.
Well, I'm not, I've never been totally in favor of the wall. I think we've got to do something about illegal immigration, but the wall, as I've told you before, I think, Rob, is, in my opinion, it could well be an instrument to keep us in Mexico, where all the jobs have gone in the past 5 or 6 years, and may continue, although if Trump is not successful with some of the bills that he's trying to get passed, and some of the things he's trying to do for the industry in this country. They're pretty bad.
Talk about the automobile industry. I'm a huge fan of it. And that's one thing that I'll always be thankful to President Obama, what he did. Kept it going. They paid him in full. Everything is good, but we need to do more. So how it affects so many ancillary jobs, especially in the steel industry. I know U.S. Steel is talking about reopening fabricating plants, bringing thousands of people back to work. Their chairman CEO was down there with congressional and union leaders and all sorts of people from wonderful manufacturing companies throughout this country, CEOs, and of course presidents of companies who are meeting with Mr. Trump, trying to make sense of all of this. Explain to the audience, especially in the small steel mills and ATI Midland, we're all hoping that this may change their fortunes and they stay open, because we need them. 250 jobs there. But how it affects small businesses like steel businesses, the automobile industry.
Well, I think, I mentioned you probably a year or so ago that when we were having this kind of a conversation that Ford Motor back maybe 10, 15 years ago decided to build a plant, not in this country, but they built it in Brazil, a little area called Camaçari, Brazil. I forget what the cost of that plant was, but they employed 9,000 people at that plant. And that's when they chose to move into Brazil. Aside from that 9,000 people that they employed at the Ford plant, they were responsible for 50,000 jobs in and around that area to facilitate that 9,000 job facility at Ford Motor. That's what it means to the subsidiaries and the feeder companies that have to supply product to these big automotive companies like Ford Motor and GM. 50,000 in addition to the 9,000 at the plant, 50,000 more jobs around that.
Let me also give some thanks to the Beaver Allegheny County Times about the Shell petrochemical plant. I'm the biggest cheerleader. I'm the one that leads the team onto the field, and I will shout it to the mountaintop as long as I can, because we're talking 6,000 union jobs for about 4 years, and then 600 permanent jobs. Plastic piping, talking about the Keystone XL pipeline and of course the Dakota Access pipeline, billions coming back. A lot of that will be done with plastic piping. As I was talking to Raja on my show the other night, an entrepreneur, the head of the Allegheny County Republican Party, and a lot of people are saying that plastic plants will pop up around the Shell petrochemical plant if and when things get going like we do believe they will go. So what that tells me, we're going to be creating all sorts of amazing jobs as far as the future in plastics. And the Beaver County Times has kept me abreast day after day on what's happening to that plant, and I see it unfolding in front of my very eyes. All of the things that we've talked about, hoped about, are starting to come into play, and here's a little sports analogy for you. We got the right quarterback calling the signals as the commander-in-chief of this country, because he understands it all begins and ends with manufacturing and middle-class jobs.
Well, here again, I think we were talking a little while ago that he is a businessman, a very good businessman. There is no bigger business in the world than the United States government. I think he will know how to handle it. He's done an excellent job, I think, of building a cabinet. He's picked some very fine people to the degree that I know them and what we've heard about them. And not only his cabinet, but his some of the people, some of his advisors, like Carl Icahn, people like that he's got around him to advise. He himself is obviously he's got to be a business-wise very brilliant. Says some dumb things sometimes.
We all do.
We all do. Yes, exactly. And I think this country has had enough of being run by attorneys. Not that I have nothing against attorneys, but
They're good when you need them.
From the standpoint of input into running a business, sometimes they don't have the wherewithal like a businessman like Donald Trump is.
Well, what's your thoughts about this? You're in the engineering field now. You obviously, as a journalist, are one of the best, and you've done much more than sports. When you just think of what he accomplished as well, the campaigner that he was, and now where he's at in such a short time. And all my life covering politics, and I go back to paper ballots in Beaver County when we were there till 5 in the morning, calling and waiting for the election. So I've seen it from a lot of angles for many years. I've never seen anybody so pro-business and so proactive days into office. I mean, it's really been days into office.
He did. He hit the ground running. It's just what he said he was going to do. You know, from a business standpoint, it's just that's huge. From the manufacturing side, from the engineering side, you know, obviously, you know, there's the labor costs you have to think about, but that's a situation that I know in my business. You know, we lose a lot of business to companies in India, and it's not just because of the labor costs. That, you know, my boss told me one time that, you know, they're paying somebody down there a 16th of what they pay me, but you have to also look at the quality of the work. You know, the work that I'm going to do is far superior. So I mean, you know, there's give and take on both sides. But I think, you know, I think that President Trump coming in, and I think he's really making strides as far as, you know, getting America back to work, and you know, like I said, you know, we need a businessman to run the country. You know, give it a try. Letting a businessman run the show.
You have the last word on what you see, and I know you're a little pessimist at times because you have the right to be. You've seen it, you've dealt with it for many years in business. Frustrating, pounding your fist saying, come on, what's the big picture? Well, you were always able to work with your unions. A lot of companies weren't, so I always will commend you for that. What have you seen so far that makes you believe that this is a trend that's going to continue? And as it does continue, what would you like to see? We'll end on that note.
I think I go back to what I said earlier. Donald Trump knows how to run a business. And as I said, it doesn't get any bigger than the U.S. government. I think with that knowledge and with that background and experience that he has had running businesses all over the world, I think that's going to bode very well for the business of the United States of America. I think this guy's going to do a great job of handling that business.
Now, I know he went to Eaton Park in Moon Township, but he really needs a chili dog from the Brighton Hot Dog Shop. Mr. Trump, you need to come and see this Shell petrochemical plant because I think you'll realize it is the future, not just for our region, but our country. Keep up the good work, sir. Have a great night, everybody.